You most certainly will die. Michael Grobe Mann. Part 2. That's chapters 4 to 6. I'm being extremely fucking quiet right now. At least I'm trying to be. It's like 3:28. I just had to record something since I couldn't be asleep. You guys don't understand. I could not fall asleep. I probably won't even be able to sleep in the morning. So, let chapters 4 to 6 begin of Michael Grobe Mann. Chapter 4. The Axis had been taken over. It had been stormed, torn to shreds, whatever you want to call it. And Putin had no idea what hit him. But one thing was sure: the Ukraine was free. That blow that was dealt to the Russians. The power of Slender Man's children was remarkable. What they could do in just a few nights is more than several thousands of soldiers could do in God knows how much time. Whenever Azrael and everyone else had finally returned home, home was not the same. The landscape had been changed a lot in certain ways, so they would have to move again. Only their move would not be smooth sailing. Whenever they would wake, they would find themselves not even in the same world. Though this world would fit Kushina a lot more. And a man that she would find in this world would also fit the description of her previous husband a lot more as well. They even had the same damn names. Minato Namikaze. And so, Slender Man, who is Michael in this story, just in case you forgot that from the previous 3 chapters, as well, he decided to let Minato play figurehead without even knowing it. Kushina knew her husband, knew that he would do this because of her previous husband and what he had meant to her and what that night had meant to her in Japan. And apparently, mostly the same shit had happened here. So, they could just make it to where events mixed together just enough to be just similar enough to where both parties were happy and unhappy at the same time. Michael would be in the background as Slender Man. Slender Man, Slender Man, all the children try to run. Slender Man, Slender Man, for him it's part of the fun. Slender Man, dressed in darkest suit and tie. Slender Man, you most certainly will die. Is something Kushina picked up out of nowhere. Just from being with her actual fucking husband. Though the Leaf Village, as they had now been in it for quite some time, could never know. Well, Slender Man had never actually been in the Leaf Village. He had been in its forests, but in its training grounds, even 44, which they called the Forest of Death. Laughable, Slender Man thought. These creatures, even the damn snakes, they were nothing. Nothing like before. And then maybe that's just because of how powerful he had become. Over the long expansion of time. And hell, even space, considering how different the world was now. Oh, Slender Man would watch the Namikaze. He would watch him like a fucking hawk. Or, is it better to say falcon, seeing as they appear to have the better vision? Yes, a falcon. He would watch him like a fucking falcon. Why say like a hawk if falcons have the better vision? Some things about humans, a thing that he used to be, would always confuse him. Why does a thing that he used to be have to confuse him so much now? Because he's not human anymore? Is that why? Maybe now that he's not human, he can see the bigger picture in all things. And that's why it confuses him so. Because humans can't see that bigger picture. Including this Minato. Namikaze. he would die. Oh, he would die. Slender Man's almighty power would let it seem like the death god had taken his soul in order to put the nine tails into his son. Oh, the Shinigami had taken Minato's soul. Oh, yes, it did. And half of the nine tails. Even putting the other half into his son. Well, figurehead of his son, at least. Naruto knew by now who his real parents were. And he knew that Minato was a figurehead. Sure, he was the fourth Hokage, but he was also a figurehead of a parent. He knew that the Slender Man, all the children tried to run. Slender Man. For him, it's part of the fun. Slender Man, dressed in darkest suit and tie. Slender Man, you most certainly will die. He knew that that was his father. And he had two siblings as well. Though they had also shut themselves away from, well, what was known as Konoha. They said it seemed awkward. Well, Azrael said it seemed that way. He was just trying to be polite. Because what Monica said, definitely was not something you would call polite about the Leaf Village. Considering there was a man before that Minato, who was the same name, who was the actual husband of their mother before she got the husband that was their father, the Slender Man. So many conflicting emotions. Oh, why did they have to be part human? Slender Man wondered, why did they have to be part fucking human? Maybe, just maybe, he could find a way, a ritual that would sink them into the form. Or maybe just make the human form more natural to their slender nature. Yes, that latter option seemed like the better one to take. Less risk as well. And more reward without having to take as much risk. Perfect. And no fine print bullshit like with the other option. The Grobe Mann had taught him a long time ago about fine print bullshit. And he even called it that too. That's something that Michael, as Slender Man, could always look back on and laugh his ass off about the Grobe Mann's behavior in the years that they knew each other, as student and teacher, as father and son. Before he had to take hold of the power and then make it his. But then one day it happened. Masky, Hoodie, Toby. How the fuck did they get here? One day, he was just notes all across the forest, just like he always liked to do to pass the time. Hell, it wasn't even a training ground this time, not even 44. No, the ones outside of Konoha, and the trees that were barely jumped on, so no one would dare notice a thing about the small amounts of his quote-unquote chakra that he put into his notes to make them oh so more special. The slender chakra nature. This slender chakra nature made everything oh so more special. And once the ritual had been commenced upon Azrael and Monica, oh, things would be so good, because then Kushina, and then Naruto, and then all would be complete. But Kushina and Naruto wouldn't take nearly as much effort as Azrael and Monica. But still, he had to ask himself, why Masky, why Hoodie, and why Toby? Why were they here? He was just minding his own damn business. But then again, I guess no rest for the wicked. But really, could he be really called all that wicked? Well, I guess he could. I mean, he did kill people. But he was doing less of that now that, Kushina, Naruto, Azrael, Monica, a family. But then Minato had to get in the fucking way again. The other one. Acting like the first one got in the way. He didn't even know the first one all that well, except for what Kushina had told him. And from what he had heard, he didn't really like too much. He liked some things, but others he downright despised. Guess that was just his inhuman nature coming in again to remind him of who he really is. And then they finally chose to freaking speak. And it's Masky saying something about they were dropped here. Hoodie was the second one to wake up. Then Toby, that would make Masky the first one. Obvious deduction skills. Are obvious. Anyways, after waking up, they decided to get familiar enough without getting blatantly spotted. Just like how Slenderman had decided to do his life up until now. So it seems they were following around the same path without being too identical. Spreading his influence without exactly spreading him blatantly and out in the open. He would spread himself out that way, and only if he wanted to. And that is period, point blank, the final decision. That's what he had always told himself, at least. Well, it seemed that they had brought someone with. Well, two someones. One of them seemed to be a left cannon, and the other one was a dog. The fuck? Well, it seemed to be this loose cannon's dog. Because it most likely responded to everything that he said. At least to it. The loose cannon one, or at least the one who seemed the most loose cannon-ish out of all of them, because he knew he could trust his proxies, but this one, definite loose cannon. But he would make sure to fix something of that. That is, if he showed enough promise to be even worthy of proxy status. Because that seemed to be what two of his proxies were wanting to happen. But Toby could be looking off into nowhere space for all that he was concerned. He could never really tell what was going on behind those goggles. That is, unless he used the abyssal darkness of the slender sickness. But he didn't really feel like torturing one of his proxies. At least they hadn't done anything to, well, earn that yet. That he knew of, at least. This person, apparently their name was Jeff. And, well, Slenderman didn't need anything really left to be said, because right after that, Jeff got out of whatever was binding him and tried to kill him. And it was a good fight. Oh, Slenderman had never felt so good in such a long while, except for whenever he was around Kushina and the kids. They made him feel so good. But this was a close second. Slenderman could definitely say that this was a close second to how they made him feel. He felt alive again. Truly, indeed, alive. Though Jeff started becoming too much of a hassle whenever he created fire around the place. Slenderman did not want to be noticed, so he demanded his proxies get this fire out pronto, and, well, he would deal with Jeff. I mean, after all, with the fire being dealt with, that would be a distraction. And then Nightmare, and, well, Jeff would be asleep. Which is what indeed happened. But also it's partly because he had, well, apparently was intoxicated during their meeting. And only had just recently started to sober up, which is why he had gotten a little bit stronger and more tactical in his approach when fighting him, is what Slenderman had realized about Jeff. He liked himself some good Jim Beam, which this world didn't have much of, or at all. A good substitute, though, was sake. It's not like Jeff liked it, though, much of that. If any of what happened next was a good indication of him throwing his guts up, or that could just be the fact that he was intoxicated to begin with, and the methods his proxies used to get him unintoxicated. Slenderman had to basically tell them that he was already out of it. No use in kicking a guy while he was down if he's already back to stat. Well, sort of. The fire kind of nicked him a little bit. So did it also to Slenderman. But Slenderman was very aware of the dangers of fire to a Slender. So, basically, the one less affected by the fire was indeed Slenderman, because he got the fuck out of there. Got the fuck out of Dodge, more like it. And made sure to use his Abyssal Darkness Nightmare form to make sure that Jeff knew that that was the reason, not him, but the fire. Slenders do not like fire. It was nothing of him, just the fire. Didn't want Jeff getting a big head. If he was going to be one of his proxies, that is. And about the damn dog, or hellhound now that he saw its true form, using his abyssal darkness nightmare form. It seemed to only use its true form as a mechanism to repair itself now that it had seen Slenderman's more get up and go side of himself. So Slenderman decided to let up, and so the dog seemed to let up, getting back into its more... Well, it still had the human teeth and making it frickin' smile. So, we decided to call it Smile. Besides, the real name seemed to be Smile.jpg. Smile was just more... Smile Dog seemed to be a more simple name. And so, seeing as Jeff was in the books, basically in Slender's eyes, of being one of his proxies, possibly, and, well, it basically noted that it seemed like that dog didn't go anywhere without Jeff, and Jeff didn't go anywhere without that dog. He just recently named Smile Dog. Or just Smile as a sort of nickname. Chapter 5. The next few days were a bitch, to say the least. Kushina actually going out to find Slenderman and, well, ask what is up, until she saw Jeff and Smile. Jeff trying to, well, he would have tried to, but Slenderman had already told him about Kushina. And whenever he tried to tease him about it, Abyssal Darkness Nightmare form, and that stopped instantly. Smile had even learned not to go into his hellhound form, or else he would be brutally punished for doing so. It was not a very pleasant thing to look at. When Smile remarked, apparently this thing can talk, about his Abyssal Nightmare, freaking Abyssal Darkness Nightmare form not being very pleasant to look at either. And the fact that he just generally did not have a face, also not pleasant. And, well, Slenderman also decided to quip at the fact that, human teeth on a dog? Really? The fuck were they doing whenever they created the guy? Basically, Smile having been defeated in that little quip of an argument, if you can even call it that. Slenderman always did knows how to win an argument. Well, by this time he did know everything. So no one really could beat him at an argument, as if they even got the chance. So now it was Masky, Hoodie, and Toby to deal with, seeing as Jeff and Smile had already been humbled for the day. Well, for now, in the day at least. Masky seemed complacent enough around Slenderman. He didn't really know why it seemed so. This is a totally new world. I guess maybe he's just good at adapting to new surroundings. Maybe that's why he stayed alive for so long, Slenderman thinks. And it must be the same for Hoodie. though he is a little bit more expressive about his negative thoughts. About Konoha no Sato and the way it tried to treat the boy, though something would always stop them before they could even get the chance. That something being Slenderman, using his abyssal darkness to make sure no one could ever see him do it. Not even their precious Hokage, Son Daime, if you remember correctly, having to get reinducted back into office because of the death of their Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze. This one here is in Sarutobi, if you remember correctly. The man looked way too old to be back in office. I mean, good God, he looked like he could fall over any second. But then again, there is always the power of deception. So I guess one side is about to fall over, the other side is about to kick your ass. Is Slenderman's train of thought as he thinks about the Son Daime Hokage. And then he trains his thoughts over to, well, the fact that the thing that always is taking out these, rather it be drunken bastards or trained shinobi, it's always him helping out his son and never asking for anything in return, just because he loves his children that much. He would never ask for anything in return. They're just that near and dear to him. And so is his wife, Kushina Uzumaki. And he would be damned to hell and back. Hell frozen over and back, in fact. If anything were to ever happen to any of them. And he just now realizes that he's flaring up his abyssal darkness nightmare form again. So he really needs to keep that under control. Because he just now thinks that he made Hoodie shit his pants. Because, kind of unprepared for just doing that out of nowhere. Lost in his thoughts. Hoodie was lost in his thoughts too, but not as much as Toby's gonna get lost in his thoughts. About Toby. Where is he? Didn't take long for Slenderman to find Toby. Trying to go to touring down 44. Toby's like, come again, eh? Master. Seems like I never actually get into the place before you actually find me. Well, I guess it does help that you can teleport. And, well, know everything. So unfair. Slenderman cocking his head. So is this some sort of training for you? Toby being like, well, duh. I mean, what else kind of training can we get? At least this is as close as a village as we can get without getting spotted. Well, Masky won't do it. Coward. And Hoodie won't do it. For whatever reason, or what, I don't care, or know, whatever. And Jeff and that damn Smile Dog, don't even freaking get me started on them. Oh wait. Fuck, it's my turn to freaking take care of the damn thing. Since Jeff is freaking plastered. Why'd you have to teach him about Sasuke? Fuck. Sake. I don't even know why the name Sasuke came in my head. So then I'm thinking, probably too many times where I accidentally went into the Abyssal Darkness Nightmare form on you guys while I was deep in thought. Sorry about that, I really am. Slenderman really, truly, indeed is, sorry about being like that to them so many times. Just sometimes he can't really control his emotions whenever it comes to family. Yes, he can indeed be like his own type of Uzumaki. Because Uzumaki, they're all about family. And well, if Slenderman's family were ever to get hurt, well, I think you already know. Chapter 6. It had been quite some time, and now Naruto was bored out of his fucking mind. Come on, Kakashi-sensei. A real mission, please. And not too long later, coming back from that real mission, Slenderman, being behind the scenes, when Kushina finally gave her behind-the-scenes report, Slenderman was enraged. They knew that it wasn't a C rank, but they did it anyways. Putting Naruto in danger that he wasn't prepared for. Or at least not without the others, the idiot club basically around him. The emo and the fucking fangirl. When also, while you were around the village trying to collect the report, or at least your some of it, did that, the one they call the Warhawk, go anywhere near you? Or look suspiciously anywhere near you? Kushina, knowing who Slenderman's talking about, you really want Hiruzen to give you the okay on this. Slenderman basically being like, well, just now got him in my good graces. Well, Hiruzen, that is. I might finally be able to go happy hunting on Danzo if he were just giving me enough unequivocal evidence, and I'd have a good case as to why I did. No more freelance killing. I have to have a reason now, apparently. So I'm not wearing one of those freaking whatever you call that. It's not my way of doing things. And it never will be. And Kushina would be like, and I already discussed that with the old fart. And he knows very well what your style of doing things is. And well, you'll be happy to know you've been given free rein. Apparently, there was some stuff that they were able to get. A spy, though his tongue and his head were marked with seals. Well, a seal each. Keeping him from spurging information. Well, from his tongue, his mouth, basically saying anything, and from Yamanaka going into his mind. And without Jiraiya in the village, Jiraiya, that guy, and, well, most of my clan stuff, well, you would call it clan stuff, that I basically inherited through the Uzumaki name, and, well, learned through the Uzumaki name, I'm still brushing up on. So, yeah, basically what we have to go off of is, well, how correct can you basically base off of Danzo? The guy that was killed. And Slenderman basically being like he knows exactly what Kushina is talking about. And he is so totally ready to get this guy's ass. And he's basically like, "Oh, Hiruzen, or should I call you Lord Third?" He just Slender teleports in there and about gives Hiruzen a heart attack by doing so. And, well, basically, he's like, "I know the exact, way this was all done, in and out. 100% pinpoint accuracy. Nothing left out. By the end of this, you will have perfect rain to give me perfect slaughter on this Danzo's ass. Like I've wanted for so long. But because of this village, I've had to leap my distances. Your jutsu are troublesome, as I guess the Naras would say. And so are the jutsu of the other villages. Five major or other villages otherwise. So, are you ready to see some magic happen? Basically, whenever Hiruzen sees what Slenderman does, yes, it is pinpoint accuracy, exactly the way it happened. And he didn't even have freaking Yamanaka or a Seal Master. Slenderman just worked his slender magic. And boom chakalaka. Automatic leeway into Danzo's, well, just getting rid of the bastard ahead of time. Oh, and, well, you have some rude guards? Rude is actually supposed to be around anymore, so let me take care of that. Just using the Abyssal Darkness Nightmare form, and, go into town. Until he actually gets to the man's place. His quarters. And, well, Danzo is right there, and he's, going to use Kodo Matsukami. But he sees he can't really use it on Slender Man. But he's not even in his Abyssal Darkness Nightmare form. And why is this? Well, if you've ever seen the ending to Slender Man or Slender the Awakening or something like the sequel game to the original Slender game, the one where everything keeps on glitching around you. Yeah, basically he does that to Danzo. F's this man's up real good. Danzo has no idea what's really going on. when really Slenderman is just taking real good care on taking out every Sharingan eye, even the one in Danzo's eye, and just getting rid of the arm post haste because of those Hashirama cells. No one needs to have those anymore. And hey, look on the bright side. After basically presenting, Hiruzen with Danzo's body and enough, DNA proof without actually having the eyes or the Hashirama DNA enough to actually give anyone any chance to, do their own shit. They have the DNA there, it's just not enough for that shit to happen again. And Hiruzen makes sure of that. He has Anbu fucking everywhere. And in secret, the proxies and pseudo-proxies in Jeff and Smile Dog. Basically. And, the family around everywhere. Basically to make sure none of this goes awry. And basically, Slenderman is instated in as a secret sleeper agent Anbu for Hiruzen and Hiruzen alone until the next Hokage is inducted in. And then he will be their sleeper agent. And then on and then on. Unless, it violates any of the rules that he set. But Slenderman has his own set of rules that he made underneath Hiruzen's nose. That basically say that if your rules break my rules, then I'm gonna go with the other Hokage if their rules suit my, thing. So basically, if you're busting my balls too hard, I'm gonna go against you. But you're already going to be dead, so why does it fucking matter? Because, Slenderman knows everything, including the past, present, and future, pretty much. Well, most of it, like chunks at a time. So he already kinda knows about the Konoha Crush. And how that's gonna go down. Rip Hiruzen. And he already kind of knows a little bit about who's going to be the next Hokage after him, being Tsunade Senju. And the fact that, he will like her a lot more than he likes Hiruzen now. So basically, he will like her a lot more than his current, boss, and I say that in air quotes. Am I at chapter 6 yet? If I'm not at chapter 6 yet, then just say, however long chapter 5 is currently now, basically rip it in half, and then you'll have chapter 5 and chapter 6. Because if I didn't, I already skip ahead to chapter 6. Because this has been a doozy. So basically, we currently know now that whenever it is time for Tsunade to become Hokage, Slenderman is going to like her a lot more, and thus probably follow her a lot more to the letter. And, the way he works, probably going to understand the situation with Sand a lot better than to just throw the blame onto them. Because Orochimaru is a part of this. whenever it gets to the Konoha Crush. And so Sound Village is a part of this. Bleh. So, Slenderman's gonna be a lot more understanding than most, probably, will be about the situation with Sand and their Wind Daimyo. And they're handing over so many missions to Konoha. And not to Sand, where he should be handing them to. Making Sand weaker. Or at least look weak. So, basically, we know where Slenderman's loyalties lie. Not so much with the third Hokage, but definitely probably more with the fifth Hokage. That's Adasis.